What's up? It's your boy, the King of Tankstyle, coming at you with another episode of the Salty Fresh podcast. I'm your host, the King of Tankstyle, and my co-host, A2 or Big L or just Alex.
Congratulations, you did the intro successfully.
Hey, okay, it's not easy. Okay, we've been doing this for 4 years.
So today's episode is gonna be interesting. I'm not quite sure what this episode is gonna entail, but Noah wants to do an interview between the two of us. I don't know the questions, so this will be interesting. So take the lead, Noah.
That's what makes it interesting. So, first question:
Who
Who is your favorite aquarium YouTube channel?
favorite aquarium YouTube channel? Okay, that's a hard one because I haven't watched an aquarium YouTube channel a really long time.
Okay, you had 3
I
seconds.
don't really have a favorite one.
Oh, you don't have a
But
favorite.
what I go to when I need help with information is probably Aquarium Co-op. When I'm having trouble or I need an answer for something, that's where I go to for answers.
Wait, is he freshwater or does he do saltwater?
I think he's freshwater.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he does
I
saltwater.
seen him
but
for guppies when
I
was
do freshwater, so that's all I need to know.
Okay.
Next question. If you have another question.
I do have another question actually.
Okay. What is it?
How long have you been in this hub? I mean, not that. Throw that out. We did that last episode.
4 years.
Oh yeah, 4 years. And in those 4 years, what was your favorite fish that you kept? Oh, wait, did we do this last episode?
No. Well, I never said my favorite fish.
Oh,
My favorite fish
favorite
of all
fish, yeah.
time was my goldfish.
Of course. I mean, you still have your goldfish.
Yes, so they're still my favorite.
You've had many
I
goldfish.
had 5.
Yeah. You
I'm
had
down,
5 or
I'm down to 1 now.
2?
Well, a new one.
Yeah, but
got
I
a
mean,
black
yeah,
one, but I'm on the original 5. I'm down to 1. Unfortunately, that's just what happens in fish keeping. Sometimes death comes randomly, and
Yeah.
it's kind of hard because fish can't tell you that they're hurt, which is the worst part of it.
It sucks.
And by the time you find out they're hurt, it's almost, not always, but almost always too late. And that's what sucks about keeping fish. And yeah, my favorite fish of all time, my goldfish.
My goldfish.
Next question, sir.
Okay. What's the most expensive out of all your tank builds? I mean, excluding the price of the tank, what tank did you put the most time into?
Goldfish. My
No,
goldfish
No,
tank.
no, I know that. I mean, what gallon? I know you've had multiple. That's why.
My goldfish tank. Because I bought many different food for my goldfish. I bought many different filters for my goldfish. I bought many different filter floss, BDL. I've experimented with everything. Plants,
Oh, you're king.
everything.
Fish tanks, then.
Okay, well, medicine, everything. It was all towards my goldfish. I probably spent so much money on them. So I've had many other tanks, but one that stays alive and that I always take care of the most will always be my goldfish tank.
What is your favorite type of beta? I'm keeping it freshwater related because
Favorite type of beta? Off the top of my head,
There's
either
crown
a crown
tail.
tail or a fantail. That off the top of my head.
Have you ever seen those the Dumbo half moon twin tail thingy?
Yeah, the one that names after you. Yeah, I've seen plenty of them before.
Oh, come on. Oh, any advice for beginners in freshwater fish keeping?
Ooh, that's a good question. I guess always make sure the water temperature is up to par with that certain fish. Because with goldfish, I don't really have to worry about it because they're hardy fish. They could survive almost anything. And always make sure your water is clean enough for your fish to make sure you need to buy purifiers or not. Luckily, our water system is fairly clean.
It's filtered.
Very clean, so
Yeah.
I don't need to put it. And all my fish have survived a very long time. My goldfish has been surviving on this water for an extremely long time. And they don't need any of that. And always, no matter what type of fish you get, always have a filter. That's pretty much a must. And research. Of course, research. Like anything you do, research. And always get a tank big enough for that fish. That's
Um,
pretty much my advice. Like pretty much what anybody else says. That's my advice.
would you recommend a heater for I know obviously we live in the same apartment building, but your apartment doesn't have AC. For those people who who live in apartments or in places where they don't necessarily have AC, would you recommend getting a tank heater, or is like room temperature, if it's warm enough, is the room temperature
That
enough?
also depends. But like I said, I have goldfish, so I don't necessarily need one. They could survive a lot of different temperatures. But I do recommend it because I remember I've learned from your dad that heaters aren't just for heating water. It's for keeping temperature at a certain temperature.
Mm-hmm.
So if your place you have struggles with temperature drops or it gets too hot, it gets too cold, I would say get a heater if that's your problem. My place is usually the same roughly. It doesn't really drop, doesn't really get any higher.
Yeah.
So I'm okay without a heater. And like I said before, I have goldfish mainly, and they survive off of almost anything. They're pretty
Yeah, they're
hardy
hardy.
fish.
They're,
For most people, I said sure, you should, just to keep the temperature regulated at a certain temperature.
does size in your hobby, does size matter?
What do you mean?
The size of your tank, like would you recommend people going smaller, or like starting off with a bigger tank?
That depends on what you want to buy. If you want to buy a beta fish, then go with a 5-gallon. That's fine. But if you're gonna go with a goldfish, prepare to get big tanks.
Yeah.
It's really depends on what you buy. If you buy a bigger fish, expect to buy a big tank. If you buy a small fish, buy a small tank. If you're a beginner, buy a beta. Buy a beta,
Mm.
5-gallon tank with heater,
Gravel.
all that sort of things,
Yeah.
filter, and beta is pretty much, I feel like almost everybody's beginner fish. If you can take care of a beta, then you can gradually move on to the next fish, to the next fish, to the next fish.
What would you say level
I always
2 is?
say, you mean what's after a beta?
Yeah, what would the next 2 steps, in your opinion, would it be after a beta?
That I can't answer because I went from beta to goldfish,
Oh yeah.
so I'm not sure.
Was it your
But
goldfish?
beta fish is always a good beginner fish. They're easy. You just gotta feed them. If you give them enough space, like a 5-gallon to swim around, they'll be happy. They'll live long enough. And yeah, that's it. If you can take care of beta and you think you can go bigger, then go bigger. But always go. I say start small, because if you get a big fish and you're new, it's gonna be hard to take care, and then you're just gonna have a big giant tank, and you're like, ah, damn. There's a tank right there, and I'm lazy. All of my fish are dying. I don't want to take care of it no more. If you have a small tank, it's pretty easy to get rid of. If your fish dies and you don't want it anymore, you can just get rid of it. Then getting a big tank is my recommendation.
I mean, obviously, seeing your fish die, that kind of kills the morale.
It does.
Not like, I mean, you know, it's expected, but like when you see it like off the bat, like maybe like a few days within getting a fish.
Yep.
I mean, I've seen that. I've had it happen, but especially coming from saltwater, you see that fairly. It happens more often than not. But it does kill the morale. But at the same time, it you can also take it as a learning. Like what did I do wrong, or
And you think you think they're just fish and you won't get attached, but I say 9 out of 10 times if you take care of the fish for long enough, you'll get attached.
Yeah, it's like for me with I think I mentioned him in the first episode actually. Blue actually got kind of attached to. So. But right now it's for me. I want to say if you were to ask me that question, I'd say, wait, what was this question? But no, like if like you said, you get too attached to you do get attached to them, and for me right now, that's actually the moray eels that I have in my 15 right now. Speaking of which, I gotta feed them when I go home before I go to bed, because it's I work at a certain pet store early.
Yep.
I mean, I can try see with my higher ups if it's okay if I like kind of throw their name out there, but I don't think it should be a problem.
Just calling them your manager for now.
Yeah, I mean, like I guess we should be okay because we're there like fairly often for stuff. So
All right. Next question.
favorite brand of fish aquarium products. I already know this one, but I'm just gonna I'm gonna go off the top of my head and I'm gonna say it's Top Fin.
I guess it'll be Top Fin. I mean, most of the stuff I buy is from Top Fin.
They
I
are
would
pretty,
say it's because I love them a lot. It's just they have products that I like more. Is what I'll say.
so that's like your S tier.
I guess so.
For me, like no
Their
offense,
products just work. I'll just say that they work.
no offense. I mean, I have used their products in the past. I mean, not Top Fin. The I think my S tier would be Top Fin. My A tier would be what is that, Tetra, and then the other one, I don't know if there's another one. Oh, I think my mid tier would be like or did I say, yeah, would be like Aqueon. Well, actually no. Actually no. Aqueon is, I take that back. Actually, Marineland would be my mid tier ish. Or actually my Tetra and Marineland kind of what's the word? Rotate between, because for me Marineland does make the Emperor 400, which I do like.
Yep.
But I haven't tried any. I think the only filters I've used that were by Tetra were for my crayfish tank. I don't know if you remember if I had that tank.
Yep.
That was the tank. That was the original desk tank. It was just a bunch of crayfish in there, and I had a filter on a. I think it was was it a 10-gallon or a 5-gallon I had up there?
I don't know, but I just know it probably was too small.
Yeah. No, I mean it was for crayfish, so it's like. It was whatever. I had like.
Okay.
I mean, if it was goldfish, then, I mean, don't get me wrong. I have made that mistake where I bought goldfish just for that kind of thing. But
I know that.
I think like Aqueon is I'm just gonna put them at the bottom tier just because I haven't really used their products. I've been more like Top Fin.
Yep.
I think your 75 is by Marineland. Now that I think about it.
I think so.
It is. I think so because I see it at work all the time. But I want to say a lot of the tanks, Top Fin. I kind of like Top Fin. The reason why I like Top Fin is because they have a lot of their tanks are like they have a starter kit, so it's like it comes with everything you need to set up the tank with a filter, and it's cheap too. It's like I think at the place I work it's like $100 for the 20 starter kit. I mean it's because think about it, like the tank itself would run 40-ish just to by itself, like a 20 tall. But the filter, I'd say runs 30 to 40, so that's like 60 plus your thermometer. That's like usually around, I hate to say it, it's like $10 I think for the. And then you got your water test vial, what else? Your heater. Yeah. Oh, your heaters are kind of expensive now that I think about it. Lighting. Let's talk about that. Lighting. Would you go LED or fluorescent?
I don't know what fluorescent really is. I've only used LED.
Oh,
so that's what I'll say about that.
Yeah. Okay. Filters. Internal filter, canister, or hang on the back.
Yes, I use all of them.
What do you prefer to use?
Well, the easiest one is hang on the back, of course. But if you want to keep it ultra clean, canister probably. But I like using all of them. Maximize the cleanliness of your tank. You can never go wrong with over filtering.
Yeah.
Which I do with all my tanks.
I mean, branching off from that, do you generally think, like how I know some of your tanks you've like not modified? I mean, not like completely modified the filter, but you've added stuff like the hay bundles on the thing. Do you think like it's not? I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying I haven't done it before because like I don't want to overflow the filter.
Talk about the filter floss.
Yeah, filter floss. Like do you think? Would you recommend that people run that or like?
Yeah, it's always good to run that. I can't say what it does on the top of my head. I can't remember right now.
I think it reduces ammonia. Oh no, that's the.
Think, but it's always good to have that, and also charcoal rocks.
Oh yeah, charcoal. Yeah, all the filters now.
Those rings. I like to use all of that, and they usually keep my water really clean. But you could probably just get away with even just charcoal. But I like to do all the 9 yards, keep it as clean as possible. I also have an algae killing machine.
Yeah, I seen that.
So, I just like to keep my tank as clean as I possibly can. Yeah, I run Cascade canister filter, a internal filter, a sort of internal suction cup filter.
Is that the polisher?
Yes, the Magnum or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Marine Line. That's how I said Marine Line and Tetra kind of my middle because the polisher.
Which I could have probably just left it on there. I think it's up. It's for up to 100 gallon, but I like to overfilter. So my tank probably runs at. My filter probably runs at 200 gallons in my 75. So it's always good. It's always good to keep your tank overfilled. I mean, not like water-wise. I mean, over-filtered.
Yeah, I mean, no, there's no there's no, to me, I don't think there is such thing as over-filtering. I'm not gonna, like, salt water is, actually, for salt water, it's bigger, the bigger the better, bigger tank. Not bigger tank for starters, but, like, the more filtration you have, the better. So it's like, for a certain project that's coming up, it comes with a filter for 20 gallon.
Yep.
If you can afford it, I would say
that'll be on Noah's channel.
Go out, maybe go one up. Like if you can't afford a canister, I mean, trust me, ideally I would run a canister on everything I have that's over 10 gallons, which would be like a 20.
A good rule of thumb for filtering I like to do is, let's say you buy a 20 gallon long by itself. Instead of buying a 20 gallon filter, buy a 30 gallon filter.
Yeah, it's like that's what Joey says. Is always you go one up.
It's better to be over than under, I guess. It's just better. It's better for the tank, better for cleaning. It's just overall better.
But then again, a disclaimer. It's also It's also if you're on a budget. It's also taking. You don't have to like. It's like what we're saying is just suggestions because if whatever budget you have, try to like make it the best you can with the budget you have, but don't be like I don't know if you don't mind. I'm gonna tell this story. A story that happened like a couple days ago at work. I have this customer that I always help. He talks to me he's asking me about a saltwater, starting his first saltwater tank.
Yep.
And he's like, and a real local guy, but I don't want to speak pidgin.
Yep.
But he's like, hey, is there a possible way to build a budget saltwater tank? I'm like, obviously you can, but like it depends. So it's like what's his budget?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so I was like, what's your budget first, right? He's like, can you do it under 50? I'm like, I mean, with that already, he's pushing the envelope because now I have it's pushing the envelope because you can, but it's probably gonna be like a really small, just an invert tank probably. And so when I asked him the next question, he kind of confirmed it. He was like, I was like, how big of a tank do you want? He's like, maybe like a 5 to 10 gallon.
Yeah.
I've had a 5 gallon. You've seen it. It used to sit on my desk on the right side. It used to have my hermit crabs and stuff in there. I don't know if you've seen that one. That was a 5 gallon. You can, because when that one's on sale, it's like runs under 50, but it comes with a filter, so it's the upside. So I was like, okay. So it's like you can, but it's just gonna be an invert tank. But he's like, oh yeah, I just want to get used to the saltwater hobby. And I'm like, okay. I was like, what did you want to put in there? He's like, oh, I want to put a small triggerfish. I'm like, oh, buddy. I'm like, you're pushing. One is he's pushing the envelope with 50 under 50.
Yep.
Like, so that kind of narrows down what kind of tank you can get. Like if you're gonna catch your own, then I wouldn't worry about buying stuff. But if you are buying stuff, you're already pushing the envelope. I'd say budget build for saltwater would be 100 minimum. Not even 100, maybe 80, if just being generous. Because if you're gonna
the sand already costs a lot, or not the sand, the salt.
Salt kind of costs a lot. But if you're running just a 5-gallon invert tank, you don't have to buy the big bucket that I have. You can actually just buy the tiny cereal box they sell at PetSmart, Petco.
I didn't know they sold that.
Yeah, it's like a tiny 10-gallon box, but it's like it doesn't last you long. I mean, especially with the smaller tank, I'd say go with the 25-pound, not the 25-pound bag, or I think it's a 25-gallon, like up to 25 gallons the salt makes. Go with the bag just because smaller tanks are gonna build up ammonia and stuff.
I see.
Yeah.
Is that pretty much all your questions?
I do have, I think,
one more?
Yeah, one
Okay.
more. The last question is, shit, I got wrapped up in that, shoots. Would you ever consider,
Go on.
Would you ever consider going into saltwater, coming from freshwater, as a freshwater hobby?
One day, and like I said, or I've never said on podcast, but I do want to do it one day. Not when I'm living here. I do want to do it when I move out and have a place of my own. I'll definitely try a 10-gallon to start off. See how I do. See how I like saltwater. Because I really enjoy freshwater already. I do want to try saltwater in the future. But not now. When I move out, that's when I want to try. When I move out, get a place of my own, that's probably when I want to try saltwater.
Hey, you got the best person right here. You're sitting right next to, like, I'm not saying I'm the best at it, but I do know pretty much. I kind of know enough to get you through the first part. Do you have any questions for me?
No, unfortunately, we are out of time. Next episode, I'll ask you saltwater questions. So I think this episode will be freshwater Q&A for episode 3. Episode 4 will be saltwater Q&A, where I ask Noah saltwater questions.
All right.
So thank you for watching episode 3 of the Salty Fresh podcast. Check out Noah's YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, and
remember, folks, why be salty when you can stay fresh with the Salty Fresh podcast every Friday? Honestly,
every Friday, about Friday or Saturday.
Every Friday, Saturday. I don't think we need to go into details on when we shoot these. Right? Just be on the lookout for new episodes every Friday or Saturday.
We'll try to keep it like that.
Yeah.
No promises, but we're trying to do Friday, Saturday.
Friday, yeah. And yeah, let us know in the comments what you want to hear, and hopefully we can hopefully if this thing takes off, we can actually interview actual YouTubers over Skype or whatever.
And then we can get better advice from people more knowledgeable than us. Like I said before. We're still sort of noobs, so it'll be great to hear about big YouTubers one day.
Actually, before we go, what YouTuber would you want to interview from Aquarium Keeper Hobby? Now that I think about it,
I don't know yet. I don't know.
I would want to do King of DIY, because he is basically the best of both worlds on this podcast.
Yeah.
Because he does freshwater and he has a saltwater.
Well, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens when we reach episode 100.
Oh my god, dude. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Alright.
For the second time, remember why stay salty when you can be fresh with the Salty Fresh podcast. Every Friday or Saturday, keep a lookout. And you stay fresh, my people.
Peace.